Today I'm going to be doing an upgrade a lot of you have suggested and even built into your own machines, and that's switching out the V-wheel carriages for linear rails and changing the dual steppers on the Y-axis to a mechanically linked single motor drive. And just to be clear, I've been perfectly happy with the results on this previous setup, and so I'm not looking for any more performance benefits, but I do think this little upgrade will offer better reliability in the long run, which will justify the extra cost of doing it. Plus, you know, it's always fun to tinker. I designed this machine to be modular and easy to modify, so this is a good chance to put that to the test. And obviously the first thing I need to do is strip the outside of the machine down so that I can remove the exo frame and get easy access to the inner frame. Now I can disassemble the rail that holds the laser tube and remove the X-axis gantry. Then say a fond farewell to the old Y-axis motor and V-wheel carriages, because here's their shiny new replacement, two 1300mm linear rails. So in order to make the new parts work with the existing ones, I've designed a few new 3D printed parts. As you can imagine, this took a few iterations to get right. The first ones to go on are the Y-carriage mounts that act as an adapter between the linear rail and X-axis gantry. Now I can slide the old 2040 profile on to be the gantry. I'm using it lying down on its 40mm side rather than standing up on its 20mm side like before, because the new linear rails add more height than the old V-wheels did, and I want to try and maintain roughly the same overall height of the laser nozzle. I'm also not tightening it down just yet, as I'll do that once I've got the belts attached. The old X-axis linear rail can go on now too. Because of the height change, I need to add a riser block so that the cable chain can still maintain its minimum flex radius. I tried to match the mounting hole pattern of the cable chain, but I measured from the other end and now it looks like they were different, so I'll have to stop here and reprint a new... never mind. Next up is the new motor mount. It annoyingly has slots for M4 size screws, so I opened them up a little bit with a file so they could accept my standard M5 ones. Because the motor position has changed relative to the linear rail, I'll need to realign the pulley as well. I've also made this mounting plate for the limit switch to sit on, and I'll just leave that kind of loose so that I can adjust the position later. Here's the new X-axis idler. It's just like the old one actually, but shorter. The old Mirror 2 setup can go back on unchanged as well. Look, just get in there, come on, do you think this is funny? Look, the camera's rolling, you're embarrassing yourself. You just, come on, please, just do it, just go up, get on there. And to finish up the X gantry, I can rethread the belt. Oh, and also connect these back up. Okay, on to tackling the new motor setup. The rail that holds the laser tube is now going to go on the other side of the upright, so I'll need to move the connectors and make sure they're sitting at the right height. I'm going to be replacing this rail with a longer one that supports the length of the laser tube a little bit better, but because I'll need to install that after the exo frame is back on, I'll just use this one as a placeholder. To support the new motor, I'm adding an upright in the center here that the mounting bracket can attach to. Again, we're faced with the cursed M4 size slots, but this time I'll just drill them out. This is the new motor. It's a single, more powerful NEMA 23 with its drive shaft running out both ends. The way this works is that the motor drives the two sides of the Y-axis with two extension rods attached to the motor's drive shaft. This gives a much more direct input and hopefully will help mitigate backlash and step loss. Because of the new setup, the Y-axis belt needs to be in a different place, which means I needed to make new Y-axis tensioners, which is a good thing because these ones, in my humble opinion, are much better than my last attempt, so I'm excited to try them out. One little trick that I assume everybody knows, but I'll show you just in case, is using a lighter to embed fasteners into 3D prints. Just heat up the end for 20 seconds or so and jam it in there. And when it cools, it should be a nice tight fit. To make this whole contraption work, you need to install it in stages. First, the belt goes around the pulley, then the pulley goes into the slider, then the slider goes into the base. and the tension is adjusted by spinning the knob at the end. Just before I thread the belts fully, I'll double check my Y-axis linear rails are in a good position and tighten them down, because I'd left them kind of only half done in case I needed to adjust anything. The belt loops into the Y carriage mounts and then over the motor pulleys, which you can see I've left kind of loose, and then tied back off at the carriage mount. When tightening these, you want to go for firm rather than super tight, and just make sure both sides are feeling equal. The last thing before I tighten everything down is to align the X gantry parallel to the rail that holds the laser tube. I'm doing this by fixing one side in place and then slowly rotating the pulley on the other side until both ends match up. Once they do, I can tighten them down. And not forget to put the Y-axis limit switch in. Okay, time to get the exo frame back on and the laser tube and mirror 1 back in. Like I said, I've got a longer rail to go in here, so I'll pop this one out and get that one in. Ignore the little square cutouts on its ends, it was for a different thing. This extra stick out will help support the longer laser tube that I'm using now. This is a 90 watt tube that's 1250mm long and 80mm in diameter, and it's definitely longer than ones I've had in the past. Now let me just address how the laser sits out the rear of the frame. This might look odd, but the thing is, you're always going to need access to the back of a laser cutter anyway. If your laser tube is mounted in the traditional manner, lengthwise across the back, you would still need to have the laser pulled out from the wall in order to access it. Here's the back of the laser cutter used at my friend's workshop as a case in point. Having the laser mounted out the side like this means that you can get good access to it, and it cuts down on the machine's frame size, which was my main goal. So you can do stuff like move this entire thing by yourself in the back of a Subaru. And I know people have different use cases, but this is just what works best for me. Anyway, let's finish up the last piece, which is the mirror 1 mount. Because I changed the mounting position of the laser tube, I also need a new way to mount the mirror so that it lines up nicely. To do this, I'm getting rid of this plate here and flipping this one over so that it can mount into the adapter that I've made. And then I can set it into a rough position. Right, that's all the new bits on. Time to hook up the new motor and take it for a spin. The motor wires are slightly different colors than my old ones, but they're so similar I'll just blindly assume that the colors roughly align and definitely not double check it. Alright, let's start it up. Let's try that again. That's perfect, except they're going in the wrong direction. Easy fix though, I can either do that in the firmware settings or just swap the connections of the pairings over. Alright, now we should be good. So remember when I said I'd tighten the X-axis limit switch down later? Yeah, well now seems like a good time to do that. Okay, now we're good. Well, I was tempted to edit all that out so I don't look like a dingus. I think it's better that you can learn from my mistakes. Anyway, before we can call this finished, I need to go through and align the laser. Now, I've got a whole video dedicated to this process, but I'll quickly go over how to do it. With the laser tube centered up to mirror 1, I'll eyeball the angle to bounce the beam over to mirror 2. Then I'll go back and forth pulsing the laser and adjusting the angle of mirror 1 until it's landing in the same spot down the length of the axis. This is my phase 1. It doesn't matter where the spot is because for phase 2, without changing that angle, I'll then shift the entire mirror up, down, left or right until it's landing in the center. This may take a couple of rounds, but it always gets the job done without too much trouble. But as I said, check out my other video if you want more details on that process. I've put all the outer panels back on now, so let's give the new setup a go. I've had this light base sitting around for a while, so let's do a quick engraving to put in it. As I said, I'm not looking for any performance upgrades, I just wanted everything to be a bit more mechanically sound, which it certainly appears to be. This video took me a little longer to get out because I've been updating the Y1200 build document to include this new setup. So if you've been waiting to pick up a copy, now would be a great time to dive in. If you've already got a set, just give me an email with your order number and I'll send you out the new updates. Just be patient with me though, because I already struggle to keep up with everybody. So this is going to be my last video focusing on my DIY laser cutter for a while. I understand that if you're just here for the laser cutting, maybe sit the next few out, but having said that, if you're at all interested in applying design and building skills to other applications, I'm sure you'll find value in what's coming next. So on that little cliffhanger, I'll catch you on the next one.